Good morning and welcome to today's live show. We got a big day ahead of us because we do have some big news coming out today. We have some big news coming out today. We noticed that that'll be around my time, 1 p.m., or you would say 2 hours before the close. We will get the Fed interest rate decision, and the Fed press conference will most likely be the important thing. As of right now, it looks like we are expected to stay flat. So not really expected to... people are worried about that rate hike, not really expect, but it's not really expected for them to cut either. So pausing would be right there. I think the Fed press conference will be more important. Now, as we look over, I just wanted to pull up some levels for us today. As we can see, for Friday, we need to be paying attention to that 590. If we get down there, there is a major put wall for the Friday expiration on the SPY. We see that right here with a huge amount of open interest there. For the day, we're looking at a level of 610, so that 6100, 610 for the SPY will be important. As we go down 600, these levels 590, 586, but 600 is the first point we want to pay attention to. Now, why could that overall level be important today? Well, we have some things that kind of come in confidence with that, which is the 599.24, the daily expected move, is right around what? 600, right? So if we're going to dip down and see some support come in, we would see it maybe around then. Might be heavily dependent on the Fed, so we'll find out what's going to happen with that. Once again, in this area, we still are acknowledging that the 2 hour is positive in a positive trend. So if we get the basing out signals in here, which you're seeing people do want to buy a lower high, or a higher low or some kind of divergence is what we are going to be looking for. If we do not see any of that set up, any of that confirm, and we have to watch out for earnings with the positioning size, there's a lot of risk going on. So just make sure that these things are actually confirming. That will really help us out, or confirming that will really help us out. When we switch over to the Qs, by the way, the upside move, 609.80. So don't sleep on the 610, right? 610, that call wall up in these areas for the day. So we will be paying attention to that to the upside. It's just things are coming down. So we want to talk about that a little bit. The Qs a lot different, starting to go up. So this will be interesting because you have 529.33 to the upside and 514.29 to the downside. I think you have more likelihood to see some sort of divergence for that base from the Qs, but we'll still pay attention to a higher low in the meantime anyway. So I think that'll make sense. And then we can say, all right, cool. We actually have a base. We can make a decision. And then we just have to take into consideration that earnings is here. So anything can really happen. 50-50 shot all across the board on those. So we might just want to manage that position size a little bit, right? Always thinking about the risk. All right, as of now, it looks like we got some people to trickle in. Just remember that the course is 90% off just for a couple more days, guys. It's literally for a couple more days. You can get the full technical analysis course, kind of learn like why we're paying attention to this, why we're being patient, right? We talk about patience a lot in the course because you're waiting for the good opportunity. We really thought we would see some kind of 30-minute bounce to go retest the 5. But was that really an obvious opportunity? This easily could have been the bad continues, right? So this, to me, yes, it was a high probable move, but was it enough to really risk money behind? Potentially for shorter term traders and stuff like that. Me, I like to take a nice position, hold on to those runners, selling on the way up. So that's why we're being patient in this area. But you can get that course down in the description only for a few more days here, right? We're probably going to end that thing over the weekend. So get it while it lasts because it's going up by 4 times, right? It's going from $100, literally get it for $100 now, to $400 in just a few days. So, all right, let's get that off of there. We got some good info. If you need to go back to the beginning of the video, as we pulled up some key levels with the call walls and put walls and stuff like that, just watch the beginning of this video for the first 5 minutes because it will be pretty important to know what levels to pay attention to. This looks like the most important level, but for the day, this is another one as well. Monster. Let's rock and roll, martial law. Good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Will Powell pump the markets? I don't know. I'm not his best friend, so... But I'll tell you, if rich people like what they hear, then they're probably going to make decisions down at lower levels while everyone's buying puts. And we're going to be able to go to the upside and actually confirm that, and that's why we pay attention to momentum. If we're going to keep going to the upside, we're always at risk of something bad, and that's kind of what I was pointing out with Microsoft. This is not what I like to see, right? This means a pullback like this would be great, doing this would be great, but you put yourself at a lot of risk that this is still holding as divergence, and you're just going to see this 2 hour be able to go boop, and then it's just done. So a little worried about that, but earnings around the corner, so I won't even be looking at trading something like Microsoft. If we want to talk about something different that doesn't have earnings, well, we can talk about AMC. AMC with a great little reversal signal here that has not confirmed. The reason we're paying attention to this is because every time we see this, we usually see some kind of bounce. Now, if that's lackluster and curls back down, it's a bad thing, but GameStop is showing it at the same time and confirming it on a strong 2-hour bar above the 9, not above the 5 yet, but that is a cross up. That is a confirmation of divergence at this point. The way that this can overall fail, the 30-minute is able to roll down into negative territory. So that's what I'd be watching this morning for GameStop. Just if I took calls yesterday, hey, if that 30-minute rolls down, it means my timing might be a little off, and maybe we do something quick. Maybe we do this. Maybe we do this, right? But if this curls down, it's in negative territory, so you have to be worried that that could be more than just a little divergence or something, right? We want to stay out of the risk while it's going down, watch those buyers come back in, and then we catch the momentum and take it to the upside. But right now it's confirmed, so this would say that the 2-hour has a good shot to try to go into positive territory. It actually says the daily has a good shot to turn up, and how close to positive territory is it? This thing could be seeing something pretty quick in February, so I think it's interesting. Another note about February as we wait for the stock market to open up, guys, the Patreon. At the end of the month, I always like to suggest this is the best time to try out Patreon if you haven't already. Even if you just want to give it a try for a month, it's only going to cost you $7. You can get all of those weekly expected moves for stocks like GameStop, for stocks like DJT, for SoFi, for Palantir, and you will get monthly expected moves for other stocks too. Like for all these stocks, all the ones that we include, GLD, it's a great time to do it. Apple, Tesla, Amazon, Nvidia, AMD, Meta, Microsoft, all these stocks will get updated monthly expected moves. And we put out an update video for Patreon only talking about the certain scenarios of how things are looking at the beginning of the month and how they could end at the end of the month, or a trade in the middle of the month that we could maybe look for if we're paying attention to a certain scenario. It is truly, truly helpful. That's why we really put it out there. That's why we push it at the end of the month. I want to get as much value in it as possible for you, even though it's already worth like hundreds of dollars of value there. Just the weekly expected moves alone are that. All right, so we're going to be paying attention. We're going to pretty much, the plan is playing out. We're just waiting for the time for the trade to set up. How about that Nvidia trade? Yeah, you're just kind of like, what are we calling this? Almost like a scalp. I mean, you're looking for this. Like we kept saying snapbacks are likely. It's just, do I want to do that when it's facing straight down? Hey, when it's in negative territory? Like I said, it's just not my game. I don't want to overtrade. I had the volatility trade. I don't want to overtrade and convince myself like, yeah, this is going to reverse around. If I just took this for a day, yeah, it kind of makes sense. I think it made more sense once this happened, right? If I was a day trader, I'd be looking at this 5-minute, I'd see this, and I would go, all right, now it's time to target right where we expect, right? 127.74 was overall my target for that. That's been an important level for a while. So it's pretty great. But now that you've gotten excited, you can see a pullback right away. That's why you want to be quick with that. Nvidia could end up going in the upward direction, though, after earnings. We'll see if it's able to form something here. Divergence, maybe a little higher low. We'll have to find out. I think a lot of this is dependent on Jerome Powell, and that's why, for the most part, I'm going to be paying attention to the actual indices. The indices are what I will be playing in some way, just because the indices technically don't have earnings, so they can't be as beat up as other stocks, right? As individual stocks. Maybe not the Qs, right? The Qs can get pretty beat up. One thing that I was paying attention to was DIA. Now, I have updated the weekly expected moves for DIA, 450.16, but there's a big call wall at 450 as well, and you have confirmed divergence again here on the 30-minute, right? Again, so this might be a problem. This might mean we need a bigger 2-hour pullback to go retest lower levels, maybe even go back and fill some deep gaps, okay? So I am very aware of this. Still a very positive trend, so I'm not worried of this like crashing through the floor, but I think we could see a little stair step move down and then try to curl up. So that is one thing I'd point out. DIA, I believe this was the rotation out of those chip stocks and things like AI stocks, and then you saw that maybe rotate into other stocks in the Dow Jones. So I think that's possibly what happened there. At least a little bit of that. But yeah, there's just divergence here. If the 30-minute curls up, obviously weekly expected move, watch for a trap. We haven't even lost the 5 yet, but it's just really high. You look at this on the daily and you're going risk to reward. Like if you just do the bit, like let's just do the basic thing here. Reward, according to the weekly expected moves, risk. Reward according to the Bollinger Band. Risk according to the Bollinger Band. Now that's not going to happen in one day, but you'd hope it doesn't happen in one day. But yeah, it's just when you think of it that way, it's like, yeah, I should wait for this to pull back a little bit more on the 2 hour. Not today. Gotta listen to some tunes this morning. Oh, and today we will be, give some likes to the stream because we will be live later this afternoon to watch a little bit of Jerome Powell with you guys. We like to go live at that time. That just means, you know, because people really wanted that, we won't be able to put out a YouTube video. I'm kind of having to move stuff around. So I won't have the time to make a YouTube video tonight. So you will have to show up tomorrow, or I will be posting the daily expected moves. It's Wednesday, daily expected moves. So for the SPY and the Qs and the SPX, we'll be posting those to Patreon later tonight. So it seems random, but there's actually news behind it. Now, this one, I mean, you would say there's divergence here in some way. You don't really see that. You don't really get that for the most part. This seems like a pretty just big reversal here. But you did have some news. You can read into it for what you want. It's the Trump media to invest up to $250 million in financial services venture with Charles Schwab. And then this one right here, DJT launches financial services American Patriots under the name TruthVi. So you did get some news. That's why you're experiencing some positivity. Sorry, I keep like half hiccuping. But you're like way into oversold conditions here, and then you got a piece of news, so you're gonna see a snapback. But how this would want to build up now is I would like to see it reach up a little bit more. I would like to see it get to probably right here, like 34.50, and then if we could see a retest of the 5 then, and then start that uptrend, that would be a good sign. If you kind of are lackluster, like you just fade this right away in the morning and this is still negative, well, you can fade that entire move. So be cautious if the 30-minute turns down, but this would be a good area to consolidate, retest the 5 to go higher. It's great. I think it looks good. I mean, it's just kind of a random news curl up type thing from being overextended to the downside. Yeah, see the Charles Schwab news is what Eden's pointing out. Another NVIDIA opportunity coming up with that alley. Oh yeah, I heard oh, BSBS bullsh. My finger can't reach over there for some reason. Alibaba, apparently there was some news with this, right? It was some kind of oh god, I just read it this morning. Let's see if they have it here. AI battle, yeah, that's kind of what it is. Like rebounds after historic loss, Alibaba AI breakthrough, lift stocks up to this. There was some news with the AI, if we want to kind of read into it a little bit. This is it. AI model between competitors, including, so it's this listed Wednesday pre-market trading. Baba Financial U.S. listed shares surged over 3% after the Chinese tech giant said its Qwen AI model beat some competitors, including OpenAI, Meta, and DeepSeek. And I think the thing with this was they were making like a social platform in some way using the AI, and that's why it's kind of like not the best thing for Meta. So this is not necessarily the best news for Meta. We'll see how much it actually affects it. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I'm pretty sure it was like a social platform, and that's why Meta's included there. But you would expect Meta to react from that. It's not necessarily reacting. So people aren't reading into it. Maybe they're waiting for the earnings, because earnings is right around the corner. It's literally later today. Zombified. Yeah, I sold my VIX call the first thing. And then once I saw this snapback and a little resistance, and I saw us kind of holding up with little 5-minute divergences trying to round out, I said, well, the most probable thing is to get a bounce to retest the 5 in my head. And I just go, okay, so I'm selling all the contracts now. And then on this curl up right here, it should be like, yeah, this bar right here actually should be like, okay, we're probably going to get that 30-minute bounce to go test the 5. So volatility, I like to be very quick with. Volatility, very quick, because it has it decays itself. The one that I use, UVXY, it decays on its own every day, but the options decay really fast. Like, you lose a lot of value day to day. That's why I do not want to hold on to them very long. It's like if I wanted to rebuy volatility here for the test and then say, okay, that's going to come down, that would make sense. That's fine. It's just, I still think this will end up being more likely a setup to the upside. So I don't want this to be quick. It only make like 20, 30%, and then we just turn back up, because something from volatility that we need to be watching here is the SPY could go make a new low, but volatility could make a lower high, which means the value of UVXY doesn't grow as rapidly. It means not as much people are pushing the premiums for the short side or for the call side for volatility. Pretty much people not buying enough puts can make it so volatility can make a lower high, and you won't make too much value out of UVXY. You can make a good trade out of it, but it's not something that I like to mess with, because you got to be super quick. That's just my history with the UVXY, right? You can ask Marshall Law about his UVIX and SVIX plays. What do I think about Tesla earnings? I think they're going to say some kind of earnings and the stock will go up or the stock will go down. That's what happens on earnings. No one knows what's said. Everyone bets in certain directions. A few people who are rich and probably have friends know the numbers already, and they're going to end up being right. And whoever guessed right is going to be right. That's it. What else is there, you know? Oh, real quick, make sure for me, can someone let me know, is the chat subscriber only right now? I would like it not to be today. Say it is not subscriber only. If you could let me know. I tried to make it not subscriber only because someone said they had a problem where they subscribed, but they kept getting the 5-minute thing, like kept saying 5-minute thing. It's not subscriber only. Okay, good. Thank you, Crazy Dog, for letting me know. FOMC, baby. FOMC, it'll be interesting. Oh, dude, this is a banger. What the? Escape the fate, not good enough for truth and cliche. Oh my god, I'm blaring it. I'm blaring it. I'm blaring it. Yeah, pause this month. Panics in March and emergency cuts. I think that's the most reasonable way to look at it, to be honest, Greg. Let me read the rest of this, because new unemployment numbers will be out and true numbers fudged by last administration. Plus, we don't know. Sometimes those unemployment numbers, they will include some illegal immigration. So if illegal immigration is being clamped down on, you could see unemployment actually rise. I want to keep you to myself. That's great. You ever do straddle or strangle plays? No, it's just not really my forte. I like to keep things pretty simple, bearish panic. And the times that I've done those, I've a lot of the time just break even a lot of the time. So it's something I'm not executing correctly. I can just understand, hey, that's not one of my strengths. I'm going to lean into my strengths and not try to even focus on something that could be a weakness. I wouldn't really call it a weakness. But yeah, I'm going to more so lean towards, hey, what am I good at? Well, I'm good at just like, hey, which direction is this going to go? It's okay. It's very probable to go up. Okay. And I can be patient until that sets up. Down a notch. Crash my car through your window. As of right now for news, really just focused on that. I think this is like the important event. A lot of rate talk has been, I mean, think of the last few weeks. Haven't people been talking about the rates for the last few weeks? Like, do you think that's probably the most important thing? But the GDP growth rate is supposed to come in lower on Thursday. And then after that, yeah, the core PCE is supposed to come in a little bit higher. So we'll just get some confusion. Like I said, the letter for the year is C, and the word for the year is confusion. Right? Because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be like everyone's going to be talking about rates all the time. Everyone's going to be talking about tariffs all the time. I get. I cannot read what it meant to me. But for now, take this down a notch. Crash my car through your window. I saw them live like 8 months ago. Escape the Fate. It was sick. Obviously, they don't have their old lead singer, but their lead singer is amazing. Just to let you know. It is fantastic. I would say, if you're in a city, look up Emo Orchestra. If they come through your city, go do it. It's amazing. It was so much fun. One of the best times I've ever had with my wife, truly. We're both emo kids. So that's good though, Pish. If you're moving that stop up, I mean, that's exactly what you should do with stops, right? Especially if you're like, oh, this could fully recover. Well, then you want, you know, potentially if you took this really early, you would want a stop here. Then once you get this, maybe you move the stop here. Then once you get this, you go, okay, stop moved up to here because we got that little retest. And then you would move it up and you'd see this. And you go, okay, stop really tight right here and it might get stopped out soon. Tonight will be the night. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they play that because they don't just play Escape the Fate songs. They play like all the emo songs. What you do in the first 50 minutes in action right now. While we wait, can you provide what you do in the first 15 minutes in action right now? Like right now? What do you mean first 15 minutes? Like of the stream? No, I'm not gonna pull up the put calls again. I just want to see what's going on with this market so far. Look at some interesting moves. You know, Apple very likely to pull back. This is to be expected. Still very positive on the 30-minute, but earnings can throw that for a loop. Tesla, this one I think is still at risk of seeing another push down. And really look at this buying. I mean, this buying could still even be considered just a little bit better flag there, but could be a bear flag. We'll see if that dips down. The other thing is, hey, that 2 hour. 2 hours the other side of that, so 2 hour confirms up. You still got to be aware of a lower high. Amazon's one that I'm worried about, man. I do not like this look at all right now. It just looks like it wants to trick people. This looks like it wants to trick people with how everything's looking on the daily, 2 hour, and even kind of the 30-minute here. I mean, the 30-minute I think could get one more push, right? We make a divergence in the near price action. But if we hold all these points, right, we hold... I think we're almost holding this one. If you want to go make one here, we could see something like that, and that would really worry me, because if you're part of Patreon, you already know why I'm starting to get worried about Amazon, right? I don't have to tell you. If you don't know why I'm worried about Amazon making some signals up in here, well then the Patreon would really clear that up for you. IWM, I don't think I have the right levels for IWM. This could really go either way. Break. I think both would be good. I think you're more likely to still see this, right? Yeah, come into this a little bit. I think that would be good. That'd be solid. You're pretty cool. You're by the center line, though. Anytime that curls up, you might see some positivity there for IWM, weirdly enough. Which, if he pauses, people might read into that as good, right? The 10-year still might have to keep coming down. But I just want you to be aware that the 10-year is overall saying this could be a higher low if that thing curls up. So just be aware and then note that this is going to be a little bit wild during the talk. The thing that's scaring me, actually, is the dollar. The dollar just keeps going, man. For the last couple of days, we saw that bottom out a couple days ago. Little divergences down there. Now the daily's like, all right, that's all the pullback we're going to get. We're back off to the races. That's a little bit worrisome. I'd say it's more so worrisome for gold. Gold, that can be a big pullback for gold. If the dollar starts going again, strength in the dollar usually means weakness in the gold. Weakness in the dollar means strength in the gold, in gold. So AMD, very interesting. This one had the 2 hour divergence. All right, this one has 2-hour divergence. So that means we could get a good move, but earnings around the corner, got to be careful with it. But this does mean if that 2-hour crosses up, hey, we can see that positivity kick in. If it's going to be a strong move, you'd look for here, you'd look for this zone. Very nice, though. Very nice. A little bit up there for the MACD, a little bit up there for the RSI. Not the most significant, but enough. 30-minute wants to go make something first. Hey, okay. Let's do it. I like an earlier hint, right? I like an earlier hint. Well, I did. How'd SoFi end up going? Ooh. Yeah, SoFi's going to need to make a base here. What's the 2-hour look like? It's by the center line. You probably got to make something today for SoFi for this to just see good upside. Take us now. So we hit that rip before FOMC. You're way more likely, just to tell you what's more likely, you had the 30-minute run up, you had the test of the 5. By FOMC time, yeah, I think a dip down to these levels is more likely at this moment. No, we're not going to read into that. It's like we went over with the coin flips, right? Every single earnings is going to be a mutually exclusive event, which just means one won't affect the other. Because even if they give the exact same numbers as last time, they could say something different because we're entering 2025. What if they give a projection for the end of 2025 now? And what if it's bad, but they produce good numbers? And then you see a bunch of green numbers, but then the stock is down. Right? It's still a mutually exclusive event. You just have to see which way buyers and sellers are going after the event. That's the best thing that I can give you there. Because if you try to do that, you're gonna convince yourself that you can catch moves. You know, you're gonna convince yourself that you can read into what you like you're gonna feel psychic and be like, oh yeah, because this happened and it had this set up last time, it has to play out. And that's just, it's just not a recipe for success over time. It can work for a little bit, maybe if you catch the trend for like a year or so, but what if they improve something with the business that you know nothing about? And you took shorts on it, right? It's just, it's a difficult situation, and that's why earnings is something I stay away from. Let me let you know. And I push myself a little closer to the eye. All right, so right away, AMC having some downside, right? We want to see if anything forms here. We want to see if we get a hint that this 2-hour down here is going to turn up. If you look at the 2-hour, though, it's way up here on the RSI, which means that dipping further down is fine, right? As long as that divergence point holds on the MACD and RSI, it's fine. If it starts to get rid of it, then you're seeing something way worse. So this is what I'd be watching for now. That's when I'm thinking about making a play, right? This 2-hour turns up, or we make a 30-minute divergence that turns up that tells me, hey, the 2-hour is likely to turn up. And then I'll just manage the trade if I have to. So, yep, looking into AMC and looking into AMC and GME now for possible option opportunities. Did the beating in your chest. DIA starting to curl up one more time here, going up to the weekly expected move. Nothing's permanent. Interesting. I like it. Hopefully I can get a reversal signal there. That might be a trade setup. Took a full position on VIX again last night after hours. I mean, I ain't gonna hate on you for it. If the most likely thing is to try to test probably 600 in the morning, makes sense. You just would have been caught off guard if it just went this way instead and set the trap up here. Pretty much I think you're looking for a trap here or a trap here by Fed time. I'm a professional coin flipper. Heads 70% of the time. Damn. That's some muscle memory, so you can flip that coin perfectly to hit that heads. No, I wish you luck, Pish. It's just like I want to be that guy with you. I want to be that guy with you. I want to do the deep dive. I do. But at the same time, I know too much. I know about things that have looked the same before, and I've tried to do the exact same thing, so I just have to be honest with you. I'm sorry about that. That's just how it goes. It's all in the coin. You just have a two-sided coin or something, Pish? Yeah, Pish. But I appreciate you contributing to the chat, buddy. Over by prior DeepSeek news, right, though? It was kind of over by... Yeah, I think it's funny that no one trades volatility that much, and I think martial law is pretty interesting, because, like, volatility can be difficult to trade, but if you notice martial law, once you get the hang of trading volatility, it's like, it's pretty nice, right, martial law, you know? Can you tell him what's up? Yeah, exactly, Alex. Alex gets it 60% of the time. I hit heads every time. Oh, that's right here, as far as you go. Yeah, it takes some getting used to. Once you figure out how quick you have to be and switching back and forth, volatility is pretty fun to trade. Let's go inside. Dow not able to make the move higher just yet. Apple got a little bit more room down to go. Tesla trying to hold up. Amazon still worried about this one, man. I know it's above the 5, and we could see that reaction, but this is just, you know, risk to reward. Like, if I was holding this to the long side, planning to hold this another month, well, I might go through a pullback during that month. That's all I'm thinking. It could be more than a pullback is what this MACD is saying. Amazon is flashing like, hey, I'm going to crash. Like, it genuinely is. It's saying, hey, I'm going to correct here. I think we got rid of the divergence on the MACD, but not, look at that RSI. Do you see that? Like, this is why Amazon is really worrisome. This means you can revert down to the center here. We could go retest a breakout. Remember, we were pointing towards 200, and then we were pointing towards 190-ish. Like, you could end up right in here pretty soon. I might make a zone there. I need a 2-hour to make a zone, though. Right, we're going to get rid of you. We got kind of a big zone that goes across. Okay. So this would be breakout here, but I think 200 makes more sense. Yeah, because it matches the high. So I'm going to go like this. All the way down to the gap. Let's go a big zone here. Because that would be a big catch. Just make a little zone there. Like, this is where I see some good stuff. And then obviously there's more here. That's why we have 213.52 marked off. But if we go through a weekly thing, you could see Amazon down at these prices. That would be your correction. I don't know if that's the most likely, though. If the market's going to remain bullish, it's kind of weird for Amazon to show that. That's all. Wait, Netherlands? You guys are Netherheads? You guys are Orange Army? You guys are my boy, Edgar Davids? You're my boy, Robin? That's what's up. That's my favorite international team. Netherlands is one of the only international teams I always watch. Running out of teardrops, maybe that your lips. Udaya, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate you being here. Let me read here. Do you think they will push SPY down once JP speaks? They already know. Well, you have to understand that when he speaks, money can move. So even if you're here, let's just say price is here versus if price is here, 2 scenarios. Like if price is here, price is here. During that time, you could see a 30-minute bar that looks like this. You can see another 30-minute bar that looks like this. And you can see another 30-minute bar that looks like this. And you can see that same thing right underneath you. right? Even if price is down here, you can see the same thing, right? We can see price down, go down, then go back up, then 30 minutes later go down, then go back up, then you can see price go way down, then buy back up, and then we start to make a move after he's done. So it's just kind of like a, it's a tough situation. It is. It's just tough to trade intra in the actual thing. I'm sure day traders like it. I didn't rub in. Yeah, he was one of my favorites. So the like, not short, he's kind of short, but the bald guy, Robin, he was one of my, another one that I really followed. But obviously Edgar Davids was first, and then Terry follow like Robin and things like that. So side off. All right, no one talks about what's been. Do you think SPY is in for a correction before going up? Yeah, I think the more likely scenario, Toronto, is the SPY pulls back to 600 first. Doesn't mean it has to happen though. That's why I'm not going to risk money behind it. But that would be the best way to head higher. So the trap I'm really leaning towards is a trap down here. And then like he says whatever, people fight back and forth, then we get earnings, and then that really dictates which direction we're going. Just note, guys, if we see this and we're getting those earnings going into Thursday at the end of the day, and we're down here, just note that's still very risky. You're near the weekly expected move, which means selling can really pile on below it. So that's why we kind of want to see this happen intraday to give us a hint of how big our money's maybe positioning. No one talks about the tech evaluations at 2000 bubble level, but this time it's different. LOL, they will adjust sooner than later. You almost have those bubble-like levels. You're at the bubble levels. I think there is opportunity to see this bubble grow, though. I think there still is that opportunity. And I know it's crazy to say, but I think it is. I think you have to be a little bit open to it. Like, you just do. Right? It's unfortunate, but you have to be open to like, hey, we don't know when they're kind of like out of money and those evaluations will come up. But you're right to bring up evaluations. I mean, that's kind of why the DeepSeek thing was so bad. It was like, oh, well then why is NVIDIA priced so highly when some little thing just made something for free for 4% the cost? Or 5% the cost. Retail traders are just saying, hey, the stock market, this is the problem. Retail, at least investing wise, and people who probably don't pay attention to charts, they think that this means that stocks are strong. Like this is a great place to buy because stocks are strong and there's no risk. They completely do it the opposite. And that's a big problem. Because it's kind of like when you look at a stock and it sees a big upward move and you kind of get FOMO. Well, on the investor side, families, like households, individual households are getting that FOMO on the monthly scale investing wise. We had people come in yesterday and say, hey, yeah, the stock market looks good. Should I invest now? It's like, you can do whatever you want to do, but I think it's not the best decision. I think this could still go up into October, right? We could still go higher, hit 700 or something like that. But am I saying that that is the most probable thing? Or am I saying that doesn't have risk? Because technically your monthly right now is telling you reward, risk. If you think about it very simply. Now, you don't want to convince yourself of that when you have like great not overbought signals, but now we're overbought, so you start to pay attention to it, right? Now you're overbought, so you pay attention. The MACD is the highest it's ever been. Now you want to pay attention to risk and reward, right? Down here, you're like, whatever, it's not overbought. I don't care if it's at top Bollinger, it could ride that thing. Now, with weekly divergence, you probably want to take it into consideration. But that's all. That's just my take. Who am I to know? I just see if a thing curls up and then I take a trade. And if that monthly sees a correction and curls up, I will be investing. How's NVIDIA going to be? It's going to be how it wants to be. I mean, the thing that you have to realize about NVIDIA is one very good thing for NVIDIA's holder. NVIDIA holders, there's one very good thing here that's on your back, and it has nothing to do with the charts. It's this. See if you can type it in the chat. Let's see if you can type it in the chat before I'm done. What word am I typing? Let's see. Anybody? Like generally, if a bunch of politicians are still holding calls in this, I mean, yeah, the insiders are selling out, but if politicians are holding it until they sell out, then it's probably going to end up being okay. That's just a hidden thing, right? You're like, ah, well, Nancy Pelosi has called still. Like, if you think about it that way, you're just like, okay, well, if I see a positive signal, then I should be open to positivity. So you're still looking for the chart to prove that politicians are still wanting this thing. And then you want to see if that curls down and curls back up, and it'll have positivity. Justin, thank you so much for the 420. MSOS, I kind of thought with the 420 it would be this, to be totally honest. Nice. Very nice. Like genuinely nice rejection. Great bar so far. So this is great. Have you seen that daily get the rejection as well? I think you're rejecting. Are you above the 9? You're pretty good. I mean, as far as like an investment goes, if you want something, it still has risk, right? It's pretty cheap, but if you're looking for something that could snap back eventually, this one might not be bad. It means some kind of weekly trend move can happen. Our first line would be 483, right? You break through this, 480, well, actually right here, you got to pay attention to 443, but 483 looks pretty good. Good thing is there's probably still a sizable amount of volatility in the stock. So if you see a 2-hour move, right? Maybe you get that big reaction, then you pull down, then you see another reaction, then you pull down, then you see another one. If you start to see divergence up by these levels, watch out. It would just be a great level for that to consolidate and then turn to the upside. Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's like everything else. There's risk, it's low, you're seeing it base out, you're like, hey, I might be able to invest in this. No dividend. I didn't think there would be. Just wanted to check. Yeah, I don't mind it. I just think you're more looking like options will be difficult. It's not seeing dramatic upside and dramatic downside. It's just seeing downside. So I'd look more investment style there. NVIDIA has to be a big bubble. It is. I've talked about my criticism of NVIDIA plenty. I think eventually they're going to almost be like an MSTR or like a Enron. I think it's eventually people are going to be like, all right, these evaluations, are these revenues real? They get audited, they're probably fucked. NVIDIA will hit 80 before people think. I mean, NVIDIA does have those signals that says that lower sounds more probable than higher from where it is right now. Just saying. I mean, that weekly momentum is stronger. Weekly momentum is stronger, but that's a test of the 50, so don't think this is still positive. So if that weekly turns up, do you think it's going to do this? And then set a trap in the spring? We were still leaning towards March, some kind of trap in March. I mean, March is just a little bit away. Could leak into April, May, we'll see. Kind of depends on what the Fed moves are. I still think, like, even in March, when you see that rate cut, unless it's an emergency cut, if you get just a regular rate cut, people will still probably see that as positive. People are always tricked. Tricked at the top. That's why it's weird for us analyzing, right? We have to be like, yeah, it's going to be good for stocks initially, but we have to understand that that could fall down. That's a fucking lie. Oh yeah, I'm still looking for NVIDIA at the like 60 level. I don't think it's a bad company. I just think they're misguiding investors a little bit with the because they're putting, apparently the problem is they're putting potentially, this is the alleged thing, is they're putting future revenues as real revenues right now. That's what, you know, people have talked about. You know, smarter people than me. So if that is going on, they will suffer for a bit if people find out. Remember to clean your bong water. There are so many stable companies, S&P 500, that have less than 5% growth that are expensive. NVIDIA owns the chip business in areas that are growing. NVIDIA is not a bad company. They will just lose market share to competition. Yeah, that's true. You guys are crazy. Doing that during the day, you guys are crazy. Delete, do not ever let me go. Have a cap on whatever selling of chips to China. I think that would be awesome for NVIDIA. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad company. I just want to find out if something weird is going on, because I think the evaluation for right now is too high. I think that it's a bubble because everyone's in it, not because it's a bad company. Right? People are convinced that at these prices, NVIDIA will grow. And I'm saying that their actual future evaluation is pretty much priced in, like, from these upward moves. Not a cap. If the cap got taken off, because I haven't looked into it, but I'm pretty sure we, like, messed up their ability to sell chips in China, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, and bearish panic, I think that's kind of what DeepSeek potentially is showing. Yeah, if they put a cap on it, then that would be the opposite. That would be, you know, restricting your sales in some way. Crypto is zero value, worth billions of dollars. NVIDIA is one of the best, but then I trade chart patterns. That's true, Rahul. I mean, I'm not saying that in comparison to Bitcoin. I'm not comparing it to Bitcoin. Of course, NVIDIA right now has more value than Bitcoin. Like, not monetarily, maybe, but, like, people just buy Bitcoin because they see it as valuable. Ask them why they see it as valuable. Why? Because other people buy it. That's pretty much it right now until we implement further things. NVIDIA is an actual company, so when it comes down, it might not come down as hard as something like Bitcoin. I think that's why in crypto you see huge sell-offs, right? That's why in Bitcoin you get massive sell-offs. That's why you get massive buying. You get big sell-offs and big buying, because this is all just, is it more valuable than when I bought it type deal. And people think that because it's at 100K, it's a juicy opportunity now. And I'm like, I mean, a weekly crossed up right here. I didn't invest in it then. I was just trading, doing my regular little trading stuff. What, Bitcoin is what, tulips at the end of the day? It does not hold much value in the real world right now. If that changed, then yeah, it would probably explode in price. It probably would become valuable. If you need the Qs, the daily expected move is down towards 514.29 to the downside. That's the one I'm paying attention to, but I'm aware that 529.33 could happen. That would gap fill. That's why you would be worried. Fill the gap. Uh-oh. Like, you don't want that necessarily. Now, we'd still pay attention to the positive trend that could form, but it looks a little trappy to me. We'll see. DIA, you're heading up to a weekly expected move, so a little bit different there. We'll see. How are people looking this morning? 0.89. Some shorts coming in right away. Maybe we just hold flat until... Maybe we just hold flat until the event. I'm in your Patreon and it's awesome. Hey, thank you for saying that, Carter. I just wanted to give a brief update yesterday on Patreon, just to be like, hey guys, just remember the plan right here. Remember going into this event. Remember the risk is going to be high, like implied volatility is higher across the board. So we don't have to risk a bunch of money, right? There will be another trade that probably sets up next week. Like, we will be fine, even if you just want to sit out for all the volatility this week. No way, Embrew. What'd you buy it at? He's gonna pause, most likely, computer death. I took NVIDIA when it was head and shoulders. Yeah, and it was tricky though, wasn't it? It was tricky for a moment, but once you saw this, it really wasn't that tricky. Once you see this, you just go, okay, downside's the most likely. It's pretty close to the center line with the rejection. Double top, maybe I play that down to 140, 112, and then you got rewarded if you kept the runners. Right, because as you're at the 5, you probably want to take some off, but you're like, let me leave some runners. Bam, that's where you can really make that profit on this type of trade, in my opinion. And then you got the 2-hour possible, lower high. We were very aware of that. So it's pretty much this. Once this failed, you're like, ah, shit, NVIDIA's in trouble. You're like, once it failed out of this, like, you're just like, NVIDIA's in trouble. The sauce calls the guilty to gobble. Yeah, probably Greg. That's right, he's gonna get chewed out. The head and shoulders with the right shoulder in the mid-December. I don't remember, but hey, I'm glad it helped you out. We're always paying attention to both sides, but once you see confirmation, that's why we do it. We're like, we can't trade with you. It's just not a thing. You just can't. Because we'd have to be like right by each other in person at all times for you to hear everything that I'm thinking all the time. It's just too difficult. But once you see that one of those signals kind of play out, you can start to be like, all right, now I know my plan, which is very nice. Got to make that plan. An enormous notepad text file. Ironically, it will be the AI itself who leaks it. You think so, JC? JC, I'm holding you to that. When's the next course? It's right now. I know, it's actually right now. The course sale's right now. It actually ends this weekend. Did you hear me? That I called your name. They look pretty similar. You would say the Qs have potential to see lower prices quicker, probably because of a lower high. Right, lower high, that's why the Qs dropped more aggressively, so this would be more negative, right? The SPY was able to make the new high, but you notice the selling wasn't as aggressive. Notice that the Qs are filling these gaps. The SPY isn't necessarily doing that, at least in the lit market here. So, and because the SPY has gone up a little bit more, if you go pull over to the Qs, you're going to see this gap right here. That means the SPY actually, even though the Qs were a bigger percentage, the SPY actually did better in trying to take back the 5 for the full retest. And that's why I think the SPY could make a higher low and the Qs could make a lower low. But like I said, I don't care how it shapes up. As long as I can see the base formed, then I might have a trade. If I don't see it and it's just a random curl up, no trade, unlucky. Who cares? Stocks will keep moving and I'll find one next week. I'm being patient before I hit the buy button on the course. Hey, that's awesome, Richard. That's fine. Be patient. You got enough to pay attention to right now, so I'm not really pushing the course real heavy right now because I think you guys should be paying attention to Jerome Powell and things like that today. I think you should be paying attention to what stocks are doing before the event. Actually, Richard, we're Robin Hooding you or whatever right now. We're taking away the buy button. You can only sell the course. I guess SPY all-time high, QQQ double top. I think I could see that. I'm really worried about the next push higher, though. I genuinely am. Because this divergence will still be here. And if you see this 2 hour and this actually makes a divergence, this could be really fast. We could do this, do this, do this, do this, and then you're going to end up being like, if that happens, I'll be pretty worried. So I kind of, if you want this to be a bullish market for a little bit longer, right? Say go into April, October even, you really need this to push through. You need this to get a push and then be able to hold up at higher levels. Because the other scenario is you just see a rocket ship, right? Rocket ship, and then that just fails later on, right? So you want that to build up, retest, go again. Then I think you're a little safer. That's just how I see it right now. You can tune back in like right before he talks. So like, 15 minutes before he talks. Yeah, pretty much that's your blow off top scenario. You just see a rapid, like, I don't know, a 7% move out of nowhere, and you see like 10, 20% moves out of some stocks maybe that are even at all-time highs right now. And then you're just going to be like, oh shit. But what would cause that? More so that's a moment for like the first rate cut again, when we stop pausing and do a rate cut. Like if he would surprise and do a rate cut today, I think people would see it as good. But then investors know this. Yay, we got a rate cut. Smart investors go, yay, it's at all-time highs, and rate cuts mean that we could see a higher unemployment and we could see lower GDP, meaning recession becomes more vulnerable to happen. I like silver right now. I don't mind it. I wanted it to make one more push down. Okay, I ended up breaking to the upside, so that's good. Yeah, daily rejected. I kind of wanted it to dip down one more time. But we were talking about the potential for flagging. You're getting that breakout, so you might get a little extension here. I mean, that's not probably the best move in the world, but you can go fill that gap maybe. Yeah, so the next point you're paying attention to is right up in here. And then around there, if you can break and get there, retest, then go higher, head and shoulders, that'd be nice. But that might need the dollar to keep coming down. Which sometimes in crash scenario, you do see the dollar come down first, but if we go up, the dollar should come down, actually. People went to the put side here. It's a hard day, but you always want to give yourself like March, yeah, but sometimes you estimate too close. So as long as you're just slightly up and you're like, March looks risky, as long as I'm slightly open to April and May, still paying attention whenever the time. That's why we always like to be like, yeah, we have key months we're paying attention to, but also it's just whenever we see the signal is when it's most likely to play out, right? So if we see it, then we should be reacting even if it's not March. That's all. He's going to stay neutral, but I think he's going to stay neutral, but maybe talk dovish. Take a name for yourself, you know you have a line. Kind of depends on where this market's at before he talks, though. Yeah, it's because he's stuck between two mandates that are, both of them are kind of flipping back and forth. And instead of just being like, wow, we have super high inflation, let's just go through some pain. We've talked about this before. Let's just go through some pain for a year, be done with it, be done with inflation. No, he wants to tell you it's transitory and trick you forever, and then it gets worse. And everyone said, if he does not raise the rates aggressively, there's always risk that inflation comes back. What do you notice? Inflation is starting to come back. Oh, we like copper. Copper ain't bad. Hold on. Held up for a decade. I've been accumulating and selling covered calls. Nobody, Greg. Nobody can show you that. The only thing that was, what was it? It was it Volcker? Was it Volcker? I think it was Volcker. He's going to have one of those moments. Just most likely. Yeah, let's look at this, though. I'm kind of interested. I see materials, mainly about copper. 30-minute. A little rough here. You are getting some flatness, like the selling is dying off. But you're still way below the 5, so that means you can get a reaction. I'd rather see a double dip. Or if you get a big reaction, this would be a great level to react to, actually. You have a little gap in here, I think, but right here. Then you get to here and you do this. That'd be great. Maybe the 5-day even starts to do this. You actually take it back. Just a little something in there. I think that would look good. That's just for the 30-minute. If the 30 minutes is steep, then the 2-hour crossing up would be a good thing, right? Yeah, 2-hour crossing up would be good. We got to see if the daily cross down. You do have some divergence. Potentially better looking on the 4-hour, but we see it. So the daily has crossed here with a form of divergence. That means there's risk here. That means there's risk that this like 2-hour move could just set up the downside, right? We almost see it. We almost see that. So if that could set up, that'd be interesting. But yeah, you got to be aware that that's there. It's still very, like, pretty much that's still positive. So if that can go bam, right? We just go bam. If the daily curls up, I'd be more inclined to say take out the high, go make a new one. Downfall of us all. Dr. Copper. Uranium is kind of the new copper. Jari's not, you're not wrong. Oh, but what is it? Because the battery of an EV is like the bottom of the car. What the hell do they use for it? Is that uranium? Or is it lithium? I don't know chemicals. I just know charts. Someone smarter than me in the chat can know. It is lithium, okay. Tread carefully. Ask Hillary Clinton. Yeah, we should be asking, no, we should be asking Hillary Clinton about forgiveness, because, man. Remember that one time, like, I don't know if you knew this, but Bill Clinton cheated on her once. Do you guys know about that? Because we should be asking that chick about forgiveness. Nuclear power plants to train to power AI. I've heard them talk about nuclear. It's kind of weird, but I think it's like China's really vamped up their nuclear, and it's actually benefited them. GTFO's like, some of y'all might be a little too young for that. Yeah, we just looked at silver, but just to look at it again, you're getting a break of the flag. So the little time frames, yeah, you can look into those, right? But the main thing is we kind of had some flagging here. Right? A bunch of weird price action, but overall, held up pretty well. Little break, you break these highs, you go make a new one. I would be targeting something like 29.50 maybe up here. And then this would be nice, right? Maybe a little bit deeper, but that would be nice. Probably cheat 100 more than wins. How can anyone not know about Monica? Dude, some people don't. If I did live the monster that they bunger that's inside, don't they dead sorrow left on. Applied vol is over 45% on Qs and 30% on the SPY. Probably for right now. It probably has come in. It's going to go higher, but the daily expected moves will still remain the same. That's why I'm mainly just sitting, man. Just sitting. You're at 48%. I've got 48% for the Qs right now. It's kind of crazy. And it keeps fluctuating, right? It's going like 38, 48, 50, 30, 30, 48. It's crazy. Seems it's settling in above 40% though. No, there's no buy signal for NVIDIA on my end. Need more time. I know, so you just let them, like, this is why sitting on your hands is so nice on days like this. You have everyone's gonna freak out with Jerome Powell, freak out with earnings. It's like Jerome Powell could give bad news, we could shoot down, you get good earnings, we shoot back up. Like, it's just a crazy time. It's like, do I like to trade when it's highly stressful? Well, I like to trade when people are losing their mind based on the price action, not based on one event that's coming up. So I'm going to let everyone do what they want to do, and then I'll probably make a decision at the end of the day. The hell song is this? Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the last time, but the last time we even got like data related to them, I mean, look at the reaction to the data. It was like screaming up, then screaming right down, right? So you'll get some big moments. And because people are freaking out due to the news this week, there's volatility higher going into the event. So you'll probably see more rip around. Yeah, martial law saying whipsaw. They're actually, yeah, and that too. It's like during earnings week and during high volatility or, you know, a big event, everyone's trying to bet. Everyone's trying to bet. It's like everyone tries to bet when they have no edge. It's like, just, I'm going to wait till I have an edge. Yeah, Greg, you called it. When Jerome Powell starts talking versus when he stops talking, you usually want to wait till he stops talking. That's why I'm really saying, like, end of the day is where I want to make my decisions. And if the decision is, hey, I like the amount from the last trade I took, let me just sit for a while. There will be another trade next week. I'll be fine. No. The times where you feel like you're missing out are the times to get tricked. The FOMO is when you're tricked, right? You're really wanting to take a play because volatility is higher. But why is volatility higher? Right? That's why we like these plays. This was just like price action kind of shit, man. This is just price action pretty much. Right? This is price action. This was price action. Then we get some good stuff to happen. Notice now you have events that are causing the volatility. Volatility was higher here, higher, right? Now volatility is higher because big event, big selling, and the volatility would have been a high without the DeepSeek thing. Me is you. Sorry, I had to give you guys a piece. Do we like calls today? I mean, depends. The really important thing for today hasn't even happened, so right now, you're below a 5-day moving average. Well, and the thing is, it's good practice on to do it like, and I'm not saying you have low amounts, I'm just talking about a subject here. You know, practice respecting a small amount of money, and then once you have a bigger amount of money, it'll be good to have these habits, right? If you actually grow a portfolio over time or grow an option account over time, it's like, you think it's stressful to lose $500. Think how stressful it is to lose 10 grand off of one trade, right? Haven't done that yet. I haven't lost a full 10 grand in one trade yet. Not yet. I've been close. I've been close. What's my opinion on Tesla after earnings? That it will go up or down based on whatever people think about the earnings or what they think about Jerome Powell. If more buyers buy Tesla, then it will go up. If more buyers buy, or more sellers sell Tesla than the buyers, then it'll go down. Makes you want to drink and smoke a doobie. When did you see him, Willow? Why are we falling? Because more people are selling right now? If you're always looking for a why, you're pretty much never going to get one, so make your why technical analysis and everything becomes more clear. Right, I literally was saying the more likely thing is to drop from here. If we retest the 5 and see rejection, you're getting rejected right now. Does that mean I'm going to trade it? No. There's a lot going on today. Why are stocks down though? Because this is a rip and people wanted to sell that rip. Oh, I wish you luck, Avalon. That's a rough one. That's why I don't risk big amounts of money ever. I like the slow way. It's a lot less stressful. Like, here's the thing. If I place my biggest trade, which is like 3 to 4 grand at this point, well, if I place that biggest option and I lose all of that, it would make me a little upset, because I lost the one of the big setups, the big trade. But other than that, I'm just like, all right, unfortunate. I'm not going to jump into the next play and let my emotions get it. I'm just going to be like, all right, let me look for a really good one over the next week, 2 weeks. What time you can put money in SPY today? You can put money in the SPY at any time today. What's stopping you from putting money into the SPY? I don't understand that. Too much, Mohammed. Sorry about that. Oh, maybe you're asking for like timing, like when? Well, I would probably say like after I know the news that everyone's betting on before. I can just sit it out. See Avalon right away. You're like, nah. I mean, I have a nice PL, and so it's not hurting me that bad. I mean, everyone's different. To make money today? Oh, I'm not here to make you money. But I am here to maybe talk about a decision, and if I have an event that I have no idea what he's going to say besides most likely to pause, I don't know the reaction of the market because of that, right? So that's why what I am doing is going to wait till the end of the day. And I'll be live later today if you want to hang. No, I'm not unhappy. It's just everyone tries to ask me questions of like what they should do with their money. Like, bro, respect your money. Like, seriously, respect your money. Like, everyone wants to know which way things are going to go when volatility is at its highest because they want to get rich quick. And that's what kind of upsets me personally. 1:30 Central Time, so he talks an hour and a half before the close. The swing class is just very entry, Papa, but the technical analysis course is always what I'll push. If you've been looking at charts, if you have a basic understanding of charts, TA will be great for you. The full technical analysis, just the using indicators and things like that. Oh no, you're fine, Mohammed. I'm just, and I know you're probably new, and this is why I like to subscribe early, just so you can get a feel for it. Yes, we're live almost every single day, right? We're live almost every single day. Actually, pretty much every single day, except for, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, obviously. Anytime the market's open, we're usually live in the morning, like 99% chance there. Pretty probable. Also, live trade the SPY. I don't show off my trades. I'm not someone who likes to do that. I'm not trying to get someone to do exactly what I'm doing. I'm just trying to show you good decisions and bad decisions, risk to reward, how a trader actually looks at this type of stuff and makes decisions. And sometimes you'll hear me say like, okay, I'm going to possibly take a play here, but I'm not trying to encourage anyone to take what I'm doing. I'm just saying, hey, maybe you can learn something from this channel if you stick around for a little bit and hit that sub button. That's it. Yeah, we're very chill. Exactly, on it. Anytime that you think in the stock market, you have to understand the risk to reward and how things work. If you try to get really rich, you're putting yourself in a scenario where risk is really high, and so you have a risk of getting really, really poor. If the potential for getting rich is there, well then the risk is going to be high. I mean, go look at AMC right now. It's like that is purely based on people trying to get rich quick. And look what's happening to the stock. Exactly. We're just chatting about your plays, and we can talk about your play, right, Mohammed? I know you're new here, but if you had something that you were looking at, we can look at it and see if, like, hey, maybe this does have a good probability to head up. Maybe let's see if this could be a good decision. If the followers followed another person's trade, then would that not skew the direction? Like Roaring Kitty did with GME. Roaring Kitty did not cause GME to squeeze to oblivion. Retail traders did not cause GME to squeeze to oblivion. We can see that plain and simple. If you want me to prove that to you for GME, I'll prove it right now. I'll prove it in a minute. 1 minute. Oh, actually, if you want to get rich quick, I mean, the cheapest way to do it is probably Powerball. Just buy a ticket a year. And then you're not wasting a ton of money. As long as you're not buying like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 tickets. You want me to show you? I'll prove to you that Roaring Kitty and retail was not the reason that the stock went to super highs in GME. It just usually gets buy during market ends and sell it during the 24-hour market with less volatility. Hey, that's not bad, Mohammed. If it doesn't go up, then I wait until the next day or days until I am positive and sell it back. Yeah, so you're taking advantage of a bullish market. Just be aware that this thing is dramatically up and you are at risk of a correction this year. I'd say at least a 10%, if not 15. That is like very probable in 2025. So that's just something to be aware of. But you're taking advantage of a bullish market, so I'm not going to hate on you for that. You know, Mohammed? Right? A bullish market is like, I could buy calls for 6 months, and I'm most likely going to be right at the end of it, even if I go through a pullback now. So Powerball is like, your chances of winning are so insanely low. It's crazy. But the risk to reward, hey, couple bucks, few bucks a year to put yourself in that chance. Is it worth the risk, you know, 20 bucks a year? That's what you'd look at. You'd be like, maybe. Because if it happened, you'd be like, yeah, that reward paid out. But spending too much money, that's where it gets a problem. Tesla earnings, up or down? No idea. I just bought some put spreads on SPY, but it didn't work out. Yeah, that's where on this channel, since you're new, Mohammed, it's a good time to explain the weekly expected moves. The weekly expected moves, just so you're aware, why, if you bought shorts here, it wasn't necessarily the best decision right away. It could have been, right? It could have been, but the daily didn't cross. So this is telling us that this is not the best decision for the week because this is our 68% zone, and we use the options to calculate that. These purple lines are the weekly, right? So when you come outside of that really early on the week, you have a lot of time to just do that, right, by Friday. And then the option that you took short here would be losing value the whole time. And then you want to take into consideration, are we in a positive or negative trend? And that's what we've been doing. So the 2 hours in a positive trend here. He obviously lost it. More likely to be struck by lightning. Isn't it struck by lightning twice? Lucas forgot his glass ball. Hey, thanks, Mohammed. What are the red lines? Those are your dailies. So these are your daily expected moves. So just like this range is the weekly, this range here is the daily. So you have a 68% chance to land in here today. So that's why if you go watch the beginning of the video, we pulled up, we can do it again, actually. Let's do it again. Some people asked about it earlier. We pulled this over just to show important levels. So for today, 610 is very important. What do we notice about that? Well, 610 is right where our daily expected move is. So we really want to be paying attention to the top line. But what's the bigger thing we need to pay attention to? Well, the bigger thing we're paying attention to is probably Fridays, right? Because this is 23,000 contract or 23,000 open interest. And then you see this and you go, oh, that's 157,000 open interest. So I'm really going to pay attention to 590. All right, so 590 is important for the put wall, meaning support can come from there. And then 610 for today is important. What other level could I focus on? The first one, so 600. Okay, so now we have it. 610, sorry about that. So now we know, okay, put wall for today, right there. Put wall, what was it? The bigger put wall for the end of the week is all the way down here. So the weeklies would suggest we're not going to get there. And then the top side, you're looking at 609, 610. So now we know important levels are matching up to daily expected moves. So it is very likely we tag one of those sides today. It's just I got to see if this thing curls down. It's already suggesting it from the RSI. You're getting good confirmation. This is saying that the downside, even before this crosses, is likely more likely to be tagged with the price action we have in front of you now. If that changes, then it changes, and this becomes more probable. But right now, the downside is the more probable thing. Yes, I do, Papa. That's what we put out on Patreon. And we're about to give out new monthly expected moves for all these individual stocks. So like NVIDIA. NVIDIA is outside of a monthly expected move, I believe, right? I'm going to double check because I don't want to lie to you guys. So NVIDIA actually went directly down to the monthly expected move, and that's exactly where it caught a bounce. That's exactly where it caught a bounce. And I'm going to show you this because monthly expected moves will really help you in making a decision. Going short here, what did we just say last week about a monthly expected move? This is about where that monthly expected move is, and look where you caught the bounce. Pretty wild, huh? You touched a monthly expected move with this. So this makes sense. Like, this is not out of the realm of 68%, right? This is in your 68% zone. Do you want to go short here when you're oversold? No, we talked about that with some other stocks as well, but this taking shorts here is just like taking calls right here, because look at the monthly expected move. It's right there, and then you come down. Yeah, it'll be really good to experience monthly and weekly expected moves, and maybe you just sit back and watch how things behave around it for a few weeks, because you got to be like, oh wow, this is cool. Yeah, that's the cup. So on NVIDIA, we were looking for the cup and handle. Except we were looking for it to more stop with here, but it saw that extension, so now this can be a little bit more. And I think you're still at risk of making divergence. But I think this is a great, this is a great way for this to take back the 5. And then you're going to obviously want to see a little retest of the 5, get up to this level. But yeah, so cup and handle is the way you hold up better. Divergence is how you trick people out. If the divergence does not confirm, then it's not there and you can go lower. But monthly expected move would suggest that's not really the most probable thing. The more probable thing is we stay in this area. We see another day, in some way we end in the monthly expected move. See how we're starting to whip back around? This is why I ain't trading this type of stuff yet. Creating a monthly expected move for volatility, there's a way to do it. It's just completely different than making it for a regular stock. So I've been looking into it slightly to see if that see if I can get that. But you don't necessarily get monthly expected moves for the VIX. The VIX, you can't really get weekly expected moves for the VIX in the way that I make them for individual stocks. I have to look into that a bit, but when I do that, we will be giving that out on Patreon as well. I just need to study it more. There is a learning curve with weekly expected moves, so there's going to be a learning curve with weekly expected moves for volatility. Yeah, I've been looking into UVIX, but I got to see how it behaves for like a month. But yeah, the reason for this, why it's difficult for volatility like VIX, like I can't make a range for VIX, it's just because this number, this isn't a price. Just so you're aware that VIX, VIX, this is not a price. Did you guys know that? You know that VIX is not a price, right? I'm pretty sure you guys do. I know martial law does. Yeah, Terry, I'm interested in it too. Because what it can do, if you can figure out the volatility and you add it to your SPY chart, you could potentially have like this red line and then have a little other line down here for volatility. And that'll give you a little hint of where it's going to stop. Or it might be before it, right? It might be here and you stop a little short. So I'm interested, but I have to see how it plays out for a little bit. I can't just make a calculation and give it out to people and tell them it's helpful, right? I got to put it into action. And then once I'm confident it's helpful, that's when I give it to you guys. And you guys just let me know if you want me to ever prove that, GameStop was not retail traders. Put your calculus degree to work. Dude, calculus was not my forte. My brother's much better at calculus and things like that. I definitely scored my highest score on my, college testing was math. I'm very good at math. You want to see it, Jari? All right, I'll prove it to you in 1 second. I'll prove it to you in like a minute here. Watch. GME. So if you think retail caused that, first of all, you're talking about an insane amount of money going into GME at this moment, right? So if this was all retail, then I should see not a very high short covering. That's it. Because retail wasn't shorting this. So the only thing that would cause something like this is if there were way too many shorts in there than people expected. Way too many shorts than probably the stock even had. So if this is going to be retail, then I should not see a big amount of short covering. All right? All right, GME short sale. That's weird. That's weird. That's it. That's how you know it wasn't retail. That is a insane amount of short covering. That's it. The retail is not the reason it went to hundreds of dollars. The short covering is the reason that it went to, hundreds of dollars. That's it. Because if this wasn't here, that stock would not have went to hundreds of dollars. But this is here, so someone was doing something bad. And you saw the same thing when? March 23. Oh wait, if we go like this. Oh wow, November. Oh wait. That's weird. What was happening around this time? Huh. And this one, it didn't even run up to big prices. So maybe they instead, because you don't know if these are covering or new positions, but you would say this would potentially be new positions because the stock really didn't run crazy high. It definitely ran. It was a good run. But did it go to like 200 bucks? No. So again, proof that maybe someone was covering, but this might be the double down. They might have doubled down on position saying, nope, we're going to force it into the ground. That's it. You wouldn't see that if it was retail pumping a stock. It's not retail's fault that they decided to do all that shorting. It's just not their fault. Yeah, and that was the problem then, naked shorting. Yeah. So they have to get out of those positions fast. Yeah, monthly expected moves are the same way. So monthly expected moves, why this was a bad decision for the month was because you started the month here. Yeah, you started the month here. And so you have that monthly expected move, 68% zone. And then after this, you saw a big run up. So you're also overbought on a 2-hour. And you're touching the monthly expected move, meaning there's a 68% chance that we land down in here after a run-up. This is just the area where taking calls is not smart. It says you can do this, but by the end of the month, which is actually not too far off from here, right? This is the end of the month. You're likely to not be higher than that point. Very simple. So 68% zone, you can land outside of them, 32%, 32%. Usually that'll happen at the end of the month. So as we're going into an end of the month, it would make sense even if we ended outside of that. Like this, if we ended outside of that on Friday, if we ended up here, it would still make sense. Because towards the end of the month, you have less time. So when you only have a few days left. We saw that one. I don't know if you were here. If anyone was here for the channel when we saw the reversal signal on literally the last day of the month, like over here, we saw a reversal signal outside of a monthly expected move for NVIDIA that was like up here, and it went bam, and it went there. So that was pretty crazy. But that was a great thing. That was awesome. You can't really calculate hourly. Calculating hourly is going to be too hard. You're getting too much fluctuation in the implied volatility during the day. But to calculate the moves, I mean, I said this the other day too. Technically, to calculate the moves, you can probably go ask AI for the calculation, but all you need is a ticker. You need the stock's price, the closing price at the end of Friday. You need the implied volatility for the next options expiration on a Friday to get the weekly. And then you want to do the days to expiration calculation there. So you just calculate, the days to expiration, which is pretty simple. All you do is do the square root of, 5 trading sessions. If it's a shortened week, you do 4 divided by 365, and that's it. But I say that, and then you have to realize it took me a while to figure out the calculation, because I had to figure out what do I find for the implied volatility, right? Because there's implied volatility everywhere. How do I find that correctly? I might have to find out, hey, what time do I want to do it? Because options still kind of move. The implied volatility kind of moves for an hour after the close. Okay, so I got to maybe do that. Like, there's a lot of fishing I had to do. And that's why I made the Patreon and I give out weekly ranges. I just save you the hassle. But I just say this. If you want to learn the calculation, learn the calculation. I'll probably end up, putting out how to do it eventually. Or like, I've tried to maybe... what I've been trying to do was, instead of just making you do the calculation, I was trying to like make a spreadsheet like I have and be able to sell you that almost like blank, like just for, just blank. And then you just always have it and you can make all the weekly expected moves that you want and you don't have to worry about the calculation. I was just thinking about it. But it's just like, the reason that I'm hesitant to just say it is because in my mind, I did a lot of work to actually get it. And so for me to just give that out, it's just like, it's like kind of shooting my work in the foot a little bit. But yeah, that's something I've been playing with. I was trying to make a blank spreadsheet with the calculation for all you guys, to be honest. It's just distributing that is difficult, I'm noticing. All right, let me look at this real quick. All right, we got the Dow making the next upward move. Probably, it's really scooping up here. Maybe the Dow's able to go 450. All right, there you go. There's that little drop. No, they report later today. And then the dollar. Sorry, I'm kind of like peeking at chat and looking back over here, so I'm sorry. Give me just a moment, guys. Okay, HYG. Scooping up. Maybe I need to look at TLT for a moment. Look what the bond traders are thinking. All right, so TLT. If you're part of Patreon, watch TLT. Weekly expected move is there. And this looks like TLT might be dropping soon. Ah, man. Okay, since we got rate stuff today, I'd really be watching this. This can move sporadically during the event, but it's just showing weakness in momentum, so we'll see. The interesting thing for me is when this was trailing up, I'm pretty sure the market was like bouncing. Yeah, see, that's Tuesday right there. Then we went into the middle of the day, it started to drop off. Interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on it. XLU trying to make the move up. Ooh. Nice base here for XLU. Not bad. VIX, if you cross down, we're probably going to fill that gap. All right. I will have to hop off here in about 15 minutes just because I had to move some stuff around so I can go live later today. We see 590 to SPY again this week. 590 is the big put wall. 590, but for the end of the week, 590. But just know those are underwater right now, unless they were new positions. I'm pretty sure they were underwater though. Because overall, this used to say 4.0, 4.2. Oh shit, 4.2. My gosh, I'm like choking. All right, this was over 4. Now it's at 3.8, so it's starting to shift a little bit there. But we'll just see what happens. Let me move this over. So 590, I'd be paying attention to it. But what does that mean? Well, if we do this, anywhere above that, they might try to catch it. That would be more the divergence play. You'd be really deep outside of a weekly at that point. That's when it gets a little sketchy. If you see a reversal signal, it's like way out there. It's a little bit sketchy because crazy things happen. I gotta use the restroom too. I'll be right back. Let me use the restroom real quick. You guys can watch this. Keep following. FOMC is trending right now. Let's see if we can confirm this thing, man. We've already confirmed it with price action very easily. Confirmed it with the RSI very easily. FOMC is trending. What are people saying? What's the top one? Market on edge about whether or not we'll see a rate cut or not, but Trump was very clear. Let's see if Powell follows his own plan or caves to pressure from the White House. Based on just his attitude in the last one, I would say he's probably not going to cave. Wouldn't you think that? Who thinks that? Thoughts on Mobileye? MBLY. Oh, okay. I don't know if I like that 30-minute too much. It's gonna look sketchy, but I mean, technically, you're able to hold the floor here. It might not be a bad thing. You would still be aware, like high, low, lower high, lower low, possibly, right? So if that 2-hour rolls, not a good thing, unless it's quick, right? If it's quick and you see this, that could be good, but how much is this? 16, 14. We dropped below here. We're struggling. Rejection. It's tough because it's like, I want to be a higher low. This really wants to be a higher low according to the MACD. I'd see if something quick happens, but you got to treat it, if this like crosses down, you got to really make sure that 30-minute is confirming, right? You're taking out this high. Daily chart. Okay. Yeah, and if you look, it's like, you're starting to think right if you're thinking like, hey, maybe an upside move is going to come. I think you're starting to think right because you see, okay, there's the risk, there's the reward. Like just basic. I wish I had a weekly expected move, though. Doesn't it look flaggy, though? Like, tell me that doesn't look flaggy to you. So, I'd be looking, maybe the easiest thing, actually, why am I being complicated with this? The easiest thing is just, hey, the daily's really close here. If you see a green bar like this, you know, it says, hey, there's potential for an upside move. And then I'd probably be looking at the right shoulder that could have been, which means $20. So if that daily can cross up, right, you see a green bar like that, you see that confirm, then you would say, okay, this would be the area to get to. Making the right shoulder that could have been. Just watch for that. That would be risky. That would be bad if the daily just like went up for a few days and then crossed back down. Not the best sign. But if it can cross down, right, maybe you even see a 2-hour pullback and it keeps going, hey, that's when you're kind of happy with it. Yeah, tough one. You got to watch for that rejection at the 200, it looks like. Does that help you out a little bit? I didn't even see who did that. SH33, did that help out a little bit? It doesn't look like the most easy one, but if you simplify it to a daily chart, you're like, okay. His attitude makes me think he's not going to cave. Whoa. Dollar just dropped off. It was up like 0.4. Just dropped off a little bit there. Which means we probably got to be watching this. Oh man, this might just be slow until the thing, till the Fed press conference. Looks like, how close are we? 61.70 will finally happen today. I don't think you have enough to just say that that's like, yeah, that's gonna happen. I think you have reasons that would happen on the 2-hour, like if that curled up. But you've just seen a big move. You're going to need to reload in some fashion. That's why we're just watching for a high or low in whatever way it wants to give it to us. From the SPX, from the SPY. Yeah, towards 6,100 would probably be your put wall there, but 6,200 I'm sure is like a huge concentrated area. I mean, what's the ES at? Yeah. I mean, this really shows you something. That really shows it to you well, the ES. This would be great. And even if it dropped down lower, you're just like, okay, give me a double bottom, give me something. Just know, if all this is happening during market hours, they want you to see today. Right, we know the dark pools are picking up. Kill! Clean spark? Yeah, we can look at that. Okay, wow, I got that right. I'm impressed. You don't like that. That's bad. That bar right there is bad. And you're pretty flaggy. Drops in. Daily crosses, this thing is not looking happy. And I want you to see this, because you can kind of see it on the daily, I think, better. Maybe a 4-hour, but if we're doing something here... Fill the gap. Watch out for that. That's something I'd seriously be watching for. If this crosses, I'd be looking for the divergence on the daily. If that doesn't show up, then it's going to keep going down, unfortunately. 2-hour for now. I think this is how you make that right shoulder. 2-hour curls up. Oh, 2-hour fails after filling the gap. Then you could see that line. You very obviously see this. That's how it goes down. How it goes up, you got to take out key levels and start making that series of higher lows, which you still have right now. So if this move doesn't fail, and instead it just bursts through and retests, that'd be probably best case. Who's been a bad little barsh? SH. Oh, that was good. That made me laugh a little bit. Pulls back to the 5 and expected daily move. Going for a 15 or 30-minute revert. You just want a 30-minute. 30 minutes all you need to make a decision. Doesn't mean the trade has to play out perfectly. But it's like, hey, we're reading this very well. Most likely thing was test of the 5, right? Get people bullish. Then try to strip it away from them. Then get them bearish. Then we start to turn up. Right? So you're looking for the rejection of the 5. Seems to be happening right now for the RSI, for the price action, not on the MACD just yet. And then you're just looking for, can the 30-minute curl up? And then from here, if you take a play, you're in management of the trade. Why are we discussing managing position size so much today? Well, because you have big earnings coming out, so that could really rip you up. Implied volatility is higher. You're already paying more for contracts, so why risk a ton of money? Like, I was just looking at contracts yesterday at the end of the day, and I was just like, fuck, man. I like to buy a decent amount, but that's why I'm thinking of just waiting. It's that little risk management guy in my head still. Every time yesterday I was like, I'm gonna do this. It was like, dude, just chill. You just had a great trade. For today, for the SPY, you have 16.68 as of when these ranges were made. For the Qs, you had 27.5%. Right now, though, for the Qs are going to be higher. Let's see, where are we at? We're at 520. So your vol right now, say for the Qs would be about 50%. So it's almost like doubled intraday. So you see, people are placing big bets. That's what that means. People are placing big bets in both ways. It was at 40% when someone looked, and then it went up to 48% while I was talking about it. Now it's at 50% and trying to go higher. So day traders are going to love today probably, because they're going to catch big swings, but they're going to have to risk more money to do it because it's more expensive. The trick, trap, and frustrate crew. That's funny. My thought for Apple earnings is at least Apple from a risk to reward standpoint, like, doesn't look awful to me. It does kind of after the run, though. Now you're right in the middle. Like, if one thing's saying 50-50, even the Bollinger Bands are kind of saying 50. Let's see. 50-50, like, potentially. Just risk to reward, though. It doesn't mean that the structure is bad. You're getting a daily to confirm up. Am I going to take shorts on a stock when a daily is confirmed up? Probably not, but am I going to take any play on a stock because it has earnings? I'm staying away from it. That's why I already said at the beginning of this week, I'll be looking at the indices. Because that way if Apple crashes but someone else has a great earnings, then the SPY can stay flat. I think Microsoft is like kind of freaky right now. Shoot, I'm supposed to hop off, but I'm bearish. Ben's bearish. Yeah, Chris. See, yeah, you get it. You get what I'm saying. Why is my MACD awful? There you go. Yeah, and mainly, like, you guys might think, like, oh, I'm not as energetic today. I'm just trying to keep a level head because a lot of people come in on earnings time and they want to know which direction. I'm just trying to keep a level head, right? I have to talk to hundreds of people live every day, so I got to keep a level head, and that's why I'm going to try to stay level. Trust me, when Jerome Powell starts talking, I usually get a little spicy. Time is Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell speaks an hour and a half before the close. Hope Google does well next week. I hope so too. Like I said, I'm not like hoping anything does bad. I'm more just like hoping that a signal shows up so I can make money out of it. It's all going to be different in 24 hours. It is. I think it could be. Exactly, Outcaster. That's why I'm like, what is the benefit really to me even trading? Like that's what I've been thinking. Like, what's the benefit of me trading now? Last Friday, great time to buy volatility. No one expected it. Great time. And then this week, it's like, okay, now everything's expensive. So if I'm gonna risk money, I want to make sure it's clear. Thanks, Jack Cats. I appreciate that. Can we look at WBA? Yeah, let's go look at this before I take off. I am taking off, guys. I'm sorry. Even if you put stuff in the chat, I gotta go. Ooh, sneaky. 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 Is this 30-minute divergence? That is. I mean, it is. It's there on your RSI. And you're holding the point from back here with this point. That's pretty nice, actually. Getting that to go up. We might see something here to curl up, right? Pretty important level. We'll see. This is great. I want to see if there's... So there's 30-minute divergence here, meaning the 2-hour can roll up. I want to see if there's a 2-hour divergence with this. There is. It's actually on your RSI. Look at that. That's pretty nice. So this actually has potential to be like a double bottom. You just want to be aware of how that can go wrong, right? It could be this in some way. So just management of the trade. If something happens, you're still below the 5, so it's a risky time. But hey, I like to take mine when it's risky because I'm confident managing risk if something starts to go wrong. If the 2-hour can confirm up, you're getting 30-minute signals that suggest that you're going to possibly, you're more probable to see that. It means we can see some kind of snap move, maybe to at least go fill this gap. You're still a little bit negative. I wouldn't say negative enough to scare me too much, but I'd still just be watching if a 30-minute divergence popped up in these areas towards the gap fill. And then you always just want to be like, okay, if the 30 minutes by the center line, we're below the 5. If that rolls down, this is not going to go up. It's impossible, right? Unless you're squeezing already, it's impossible for your MACD to turn down unless the price is coming down. All right, squeezes are different, but we've talked about that before in the last squeeze. So you really want to see, does this cross? This could do all of this without crossing. But if it crosses, it's a lot different, right? Because then you're testing low going to make a new one. But divergence is suggesting that this could be a good floor, and this could be across a 2-hour double bottom. So I don't mind it. But I'm confident managing risk, so. Do they have earnings? Earnings already happened. It was good. The direction was chosen for earnings. The daily doesn't have reversal signals. Getting tight. Yeah, I don't mind this at all. 1, 2, 3. Then you might be worried. Yeah, I'm coming back today. Thank you for asking about that one. That one is interesting. I like that. Do they try to get us bullish or bear? What are people at? They're getting bullish again. 75. And the CPC yesterday, this is what we want to look at early on in the day, actually. It's good to look at. Look, people got bullish. Like, most of the orders coming in at call side. Interesting. I really wonder if, like, maybe the Fed causes bad things to happen. That would be interesting. Bull trap for data, then rip. Yeah, bull trap, maybe a bear trap later, then we get the rip with like earnings. That would make a lot of sense. But right, just because it makes sense right now and we draw some lines on a chart doesn't mean it has to play out. So you got to really be making sure things are confirming, making sure the risk to reward is there. And I think for me, I'll be looking at, actually, I might even be looking at DIA. DIA just really has those good reversal signals like, hey, we're about to see a 2-hour move down. And I think this was rotation. So if we get good earnings and those start to rotate out of this and into Apple, Nvidia, and all those things that just got a little cheaper, that would be very interesting. And I do have rejection divergence for the 2-hour. I still think this might just be a 2-hour pullback though. Maybe to here. If it's really bad, then you're gonna go like stair step down, right? You're gonna go to here. That would be bad. I wouldn't like that look. For bullishness, that is. Hey, thank you, Oni. I appreciate you. It's because you're telling everyone to like the stream all the time. It's all you. I appreciate it, though. Yeah, it makes you think that, Dave, but at the same time, it went up while the SPY dramatically went down, so there might be a rotation game there. 68% of the time, these weekly ranges work every time. All right, guys, I do have to take off. I got to get out of here for a bit, but I will be back on later today, so make sure those notifications on, and make sure if you're new here, you think about subscribing so you can turn those notifications on. That would be great. Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope you guys are coming back for the show later today. We'll find out what Jerome Powell says. We'll look at stocks, and we'll see what seems to be the most probable going forward. Have a great day. Have a great, 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 great day. All right, make sure to have a good lunch. We got a big day today, so have some food in your stomach and stay hydrated because we got to be ready. All right, guys, peace out. Talk to you later. I got to get off right away, so I'll talk to you guys later, all right? Peace out.